Hey everybody, KC here. So I've got this really interesting and completely unexpected email from the Washington Post the other day. For some context, I am a Washington Post digital subscriber. I look at the Washington Post virtually every day, look at a bunch of stories. A lot of it is in preparation for when I'm doing morning news beat, but also I just like reading the Post. It's really well written and I like the breadth of stories that they cover. Anyway, the email I got from the Washington Post said, uncover your 223 newsprint. It goes on to explain that your newsprint is as unique as your fingerprint. It's a personalized summary of your 2023 reading style, what you saw, what you missed, plus recommendations just for you. So this is really fascinating because I'm a subscriber, digital subscriber. I'm basically signing in every time I go on the Post. They're able to track what I read. So basically they tell me that I've read something like 400 stories over the past year. And that's like reading a 1,000-page book plus 50% more than I read the year before. I've read stories about 23 different topics. Number one, naturally business, but also politics, technology, lifestyle. Interestingly, no sports, but I thought about it. I said, I don't read a lot of sports pages in the Post. I have no real connection to any of the teams down there. I will occasionally read sports more in the Boston Globe or the LA Times in addition to the New York Times. So that was really interesting. I've read about 18 different countries. First, United States. This is the top 5: United States, China, Israel, and the Palestine territories, Ukraine, and Britain. Well, that sort of makes sense. I've read stories by 250 authors, but the one I've read the most from is a guy named Josh Dawsey, who's the political investigations and enterprise reporter at the Post. Now, it's interesting. I kind of know who Josh Dawsey is, but I don't really pay attention to whether the stories I'm reading are by him. It's not like I go looking for Josh Dawsey stories, although I may now. But apparently he's writing more of the stories that I'm interested in than anyone else. And then when you go, as part of the whole package, there's a little video from Josh Dawsey saying, hey, thanks for being a subscriber. You make it possible for us to do our jobs. Really, really interesting. And then they define me as they're breaking all of their readers, digital readers who they're sending this email to. They're breaking us up into categories. So I'm a poster child. Open-minded, curious, thoughtful, the complete package. You keep up with the latest headlines, but you also read deeply and explore different topics. Not to be weird, it says, but you remind us of us. 37.6% of Post readers are the same as me. And in each of the cases, they're making recommendations about the kinds of stories I might like to read in the future, columnists I might want to follow, topics I might want to explore more. They're trying to get me more involved in the paper. And I think this is really, really interesting. Listen, some of this isn't a surprise for a Jeff Bezos-owned property, right? He owns the Post in a private investment. That's one of the reasons that the last page you see as you clicking through this package is, hey, thank you for sticking with us. A thank you to their readers. Hey, listen, I can remember when I was in the early days of being an Amazon user, I got a mug from Amazon saying, thank you for being such a good customer. I wish they still had the mug. I can't find it anywhere. But that's how few of us there were at the time. Really, really smart thing to do. And I really can't help but think, boy, retailers could do the same thing. You have data on your customers. You even have data on customers who come into the store if A, they have a frequent shopper card, and B, you're able to track their transactions. So you might know, for example, what if you have a customer who goes to the service meat counter 47 times in a year? Wouldn't it make sense at the end of the year to reach out to them, not tell them necessarily that you know how much they've been going to the meat counter, but just say, hey, listen, thank you for being such a great customer. We hope you have a terrific holiday season, and maybe even have a little video from the meat manager saying, hey, if you ever have any questions or any needs, here's my email address. You would be connecting to customers in a different and much more intimate way. The thing about data is, it doesn't allow you just to know more about your customers, but if you use it right, it enables you to communicate more effectively with your customers and to connect with them and what they need. Not just recognizing their behavior in the past, but trying to influence their behavior in the future. That's where it all makes a difference. This is a sweet spot. It's not just the Washington Post who's doing it. And by the way, I haven't got an email like this from the New York Times or the LA Times or the Boston Globe or all the other newspapers I read almost every morning. I got it from the Washington Post. They're differentiating themselves. You can, as a retailer, differentiate yourself. Use your data to talk to your customers differently and create a forum in which you can listen to them more effectively and then act on what their needs and wants are. That's what's on my mind. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.